The world is at the palm of your hands. It all depends on what you're doing with it. I try to just lead by example. I think that to be a prime example of how you want people to be in their community, in their culture, and be able to be in society. So I tell people, if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going. And if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything. I didn't make it through high school. I went to about 25 different schools, lived in a lot of neighborhoods, good, bad, the worst, you name it. In Georgia, I was in a foster home. It was what we had to do. Economically, whether it was an eviction, whether it was, we didn't have lights, food, electricity, money, whatever it may be, but we survived. When I was in first grade, I lived in a neighborhood called North Miami. And in North Miami, I would go to school, and the kids would make fun of my nose. They were like, Armando, you gotta clean your nose, Armando. I started working when I was 5 years old at a flea market on Northwest 7th Street and 37th Ave. And from there, I parked cars at 6 years old. I cleaned bird cages at 7. I sold everything with my mom. My mom sold everything, you name it. So I would knock on doors with her, and I learned what that rejection felt like. But the rejection, again, became gasoline to the fire. And all of that taught me how to appreciate hard work and opportunities. And that's what I learned from growing up. Being there in those situations and just appreciating anything you got your hands on, whether it was a piece of food, a place to stay. I was always around some trouble. It came to a point I was doing something outside. My father had told me in Spanish, he said, Armandito, come on. I was taking pistols to the bottom of the car. Since when are you a mechanic? I'm like, oh boy. He said, you keep doing what you want to do. It's your life. But 2 ways this is going to end up. I'm telling you right now. Okay? Dead or jail. The lessons from my youth that were very important to my success. Remember, when you're growing up in a certain environment, you can easily become a product of that environment. My environment was you're either playing sports, you're selling dope, or you're going to prison and dying. It's that really that simple. That's the multiple choice, A, B, C, D. That's it. What I learned from that is I got a chance to see what I didn't want out of life growing up. And I would say thank you to my mom. I love you so much, but more than giving me love, she gave me survival skills. She taught me how no matter what, no problems, just solutions. So we always found a way to make it happen. And living in all these neighborhoods and going through the system, I just feel like the system was built to fail you instead of push you through. But these aren't things it's not to play victim, it's to play victor. This is what makes me victorious. This is what makes me who I am. Because you take all the negatives and you make them positive. So to me, that's the biggest lessons that I learned growing up, was just watching that hustle, watching that struggle, watching that sacrifice, and feeling that sense of hopelessness that I never wanted to feel. Well, I learned how to deal with it, but I never wanted my kids to feel that. I never wanted the ones that I love to feel that. And I made a decision when I was about 6 years old. So my decision was, you know what I want out of life? I want security, stability, and protection. Because the environment that I was living in, it was just unpredictable.